Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. All right. Well, this month marks 3 years since I began my art career. I started with bismuth crystals, obviously, and then I later morphed onto paintings and drawings, and then other metals, pewter, zinc, lead. I hope to work with indium soon, but I want to make sure I know what I'm doing because indium can get messy to work with. And obviously, now also the Lego ideas and a few other things. And in 3 years' time, not only have I learned a lot of art, which is why I'm branching into so many other things, right? But it has also taught me some important personal finance lessons. So right now I'm working on a lot of zinc art, right? This is I'll let you decide. It looks like a dog. I really love the water casting of zinc. They never turn out the same. And I got a lot to sell at my next art show. I've noticed something about pricing at the art show. Somebody offers, let's say this thing, the material cost is not very high actually. I'd say about 50 cents, right? Okay, I go into an art show or I sell on Facebook Marketplace and somebody offers me some amount that is nice, but I think I could do better. Let's say somebody offers me $3, but I think I could get $10 on a good day, right? Well, here's the thing. The sooner I sell it for $3, the sooner I could go out and buy $3 more worth of material to make something else that I might be able to sell for $20, right? In the time that I try to hold out for $10, I could probably recycle. I mean, for something at $3, it's probably not a big deal if it's $3, but the idea, you get the idea, right? The recycling of the material sometimes is more important than getting the top dollar worth, right? You got to use your good judgment there, obviously. You also want to market to the right audience, but there is some benefit of recycling that money quicker or the resources quicker, right? Another thing I've noticed is that you guys know a lot of my art can be heavy, can be bulky, and most importantly, it can also be rather fragile to move around, right? So let's suppose I make $200 worth of stuff. Now, here's the thing. Often I have to lug it to multiple art shows with all the packing and worrying about how fragile it is. I also personally move a lot. It's just a fact of life because of my other work, right? I move between Phoenix, Tempe, Scottsdale, maybe even Flagstaff. I'm looking at another opportunity there. I was in Apache Junction for a few months. And all of that requires me to pack a lot of art and drive it across town, right? Now, here's the thing. I've noticed that it often costs a lot just to keep stuff compared to what you pay for it, right? So let's imagine before the tariffs, you could buy a 50-pound box of bismuth for $300. Then you can make stuff out of it. The opportunity cost of moving all that art from place to place to place to art show to art show to art show to consignment shop and then taking it back and then going to another art show often dwarfs the initial purchase price of that business if you were to calculate the opportunity cost. And so I learned that a lot of times the cost of holding stuff often can dwarf the original purchase price. Now, another place that I witnessed this a lot is that you guys know I also have a storage unit for keeping my art. But sometimes when I go to the storage facility, I notice some of my neighbors they are storing crap, and I'm looking at them, and I sometimes I start a conversation with them. I realize that they're moving from one house to another, and I ask, "How long have you been renting here?" Just out of curiosity. They've been renting here for a year, 2 years. I'm like, "Gee, you could have thrown that away, all that stuff away, and started over for less than the amount of rent that you're paying to the place." I can't tell you how many times I come to that conclusion. I mean, it's one thing if you're running a business and using that the storage facilities, or because if I needed to store all my art at home, right, I would probably have to pay a lot more rent for a place than for a storage locker, right? It's one thing if you do it for that reason. It's quite another when you're storing personal stuff, right? I can't imagine it ever being worthwhile to store personal stuff in a storage facility like that. And once again, those knickknacks, those whatever you want to store, they're often once you add up the storage fees, you're paying more to keep stuff than you were to buy stuff in the first place, right? So I've noticed the second lesson is that often keeping things. And once again, if somebody offers me some amount of money, I have to take that into account, right? Do I want to lug it everywhere, or do I want to get some cold hard cash in my pocket and start over with something else, right? Right, and also get my name out there, right? After all, somebody is buying something, right? Okay, stepping away from my art career, I also noticed something else. I noticed one of the biggest assets that we have, aside from our good health, that's probably number one, but the number two asset that we have is our connection to other people. So right now, I'm struggling with limping from one bad roommate situation to another. I'm still potentially dealing with that. And one of the biggest assets I gained in 2025 were connections I made. My girlfriend in Taiwan, she's now getting ready to move to Vietnam, right? Potentially helping me connect with the career opportunities over there. My former student who went to the state fair with me and giving me insight on the future of the school, the students, and their backgrounds and all of that. And potentially helping me connect with. I mean, she's 17 years old, but she has older siblings, and I also connect well with her parents, right? And a colleague of mine that we get along well together. I would argue, if you had, if I had to lose something, those three connections or all of my strategic metal, I'd give up the strategic metals because I can replace that. These three connections have been very difficult for me to come by, and they've already paid a lot of dividends, right? And they don't cost money to hold, right? I guess they do a little bit, but not nearly as much headache as the strategic metals, right? Anyway, some personal finance lessons I've kind of had to learn the hard way over the last couple of years. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.